Hey guys, it's Maya from Cafe, and I literally wanted to share this letter that SBF wrote to all of his employees that I thought was just from reading a letter, you can see how his mindset is still not in the place of accountability, and he doesn't feel like he's at fault, and this is really interesting to read. So I just want us to all like just look at this because it's one thing for these things to happen and for people to admit that fault, because it's so public. You have a new CEO on board of your company. Multiple companies have stopped doing business with this man. Your accounts are closed, your bank accounts are closed, your money is being halted in other countries. Give it up. Admit defeat, one would say. But from reading this letter, it just doesn't seem like he seems to have any form of accountability. It seems as if he thought bankruptcy was a bad idea because it would deny him access for giving the money back to holders or making people whole, when in reality the thought process should have been like, this should have never happened. It should have never gotten to this point. So we're gonna go through this letter, and then I'm gonna because I just think it's, again, all of this is crazy, but to have that response in regard to this, when people have lost their life savings, pension funds have been lost, numerous companies adjacent to FTX might go bankrupt, Solana might be devalued to zero, like Genesis. That is a contagion to the point where you've affected so many people, and your thought process is, I should have never declared bankruptcy because I could have gotten more money for all of us, sir. Okay, so let's read this letter. I'm gonna share it. So it was a Twitter by Liz Hoffman, who is a reporter, but everyone on Twitter found out that she was like funded by. So, I'm not going to read from the reporter's perspective. I'm just reading his letter because I really don't care about what anyone in media has to say about SBF, because there seems to be a bias in reporting with facts surrounding SBF. And literally, like, if it wasn't for Twitter, like, none of this would have been known to the general public. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking and read the letter. Hi, all. I feel deeply sorry about what happened. I regret what happened to all of you, and I regret what happened to customers. You gave everything you could for FTX and stood by the company and me. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I would give anything to be able to get back and do things all over again. Like, we know you would, Sam. You were my family. I've lost that, and our old home is an empty warehouse of monitors. When I turn around, there's no one left to talk to. I've disappointed all of you, and when things broke down, I failed to communicate. I froze up in the face of pressure and leaks in the Binance LOI and said nothing. I lost track of the most important things in the commotion of the company growth. I care deeply about all of you. And you were my family, and I am sorry. I was CEO, so it was my duty to make sure of that. Ultimately, the right things happen at FTX. I wish I had been more careful. I want to give you all a better description of what happened, one I should have written out as best I understood it much earlier. Okay, this is weird. So he's making it seem like he didn't know what was happening until it's too late. That's not true. Simon says that was a lie. Here comes the bullshit. Okay. Piecing these together, making approximations, because nothing this man does is based on reality. Let's start there. I don't have full data access to I don't have full data access right now to get precise answers and marking everything to market regardless of liquidity. What? I believe that the events that led to the breakdown of the month include a crash in the markets that spring that led to roughly 50,000 reduction in the net value of collateral, 60 billion collateral, 2 billion liabilities, 30 billion collateral, 2 billion liabilities. Most of the credit in the industry is drying up at once, 25 billion collateral, 8 billion liabilities. As concentrated as a hyper-correlated crash in November that led to another roughly 50% reduction in the value of the collateral over a short period of time, during which there was very little market bid sell liquidity. A 7 billion collateral, $8 billion liabilities. A run in the bank triggered by the same attacks in November, 9 billion collateral.
As we frantically put everything together, it became clear the position was larger than displayed on admin users because of the old fiat deposit before FTX had a bank account. This man is exhausted. So you can't just throw numbers in everyone's faces to say that you did nothing wrong. This is just a throwaway. I minimize my screen. I never intended for this to happen. Yeah, normally people don't intend to spend that still that much money, but here we are. I did not realize the full extent of this margin position, or nor did I realize the magnitude of risk posed by a hyper-correlated crash. The loans and secondary sales were generally used to reinvest the businesses, buying out buying, including buying out Binance, and not for large amount of personal consumption. I deeply regret my oversight failure. In retrospect, I wish I had done many things differently, to name a few. Being substantially more skeptical of margin positions. And let's recall, Alameda could not be liquidated. So all this reference to margin positions is fictitious. Let's just start there. Back to where we were. Examining stress test scenario involving hyper correlated crashes and simultaneous runs to the bank. Baby, if you didn't have the money, you didn't have the money. Let's just start there. There can only be a bank run if there's not enough money in the bank. Okay. Start there. Okay, being more careful about the fiat processes on FTX. Yes, because there was no cash management as referred to by the bankruptcy documents. And having continuous monitor of total deliverable assets, total customer positions, because why wouldn't you be aware of all customer positions at all times, and other core risk metrics. So guys, I know he's going to make you try to feel sorry for him, but these are all things that a large brokerage or exchange of his size should have on lock. You don't have this operating, it's not things I should have done, it's things you had to be doing to be a functional operational exchange. The fact that he's saying this now is really, really, really crazy with that much money on that platform, previously stated. We've already read that, putting in more controls around margin management. Those are the same things said twice. What is your point, sir? And none of this changes for the fact that this still sucks for you guys and it's not your fault. Yes, because it's yours. And I'm really, really sorry about that. I'm going to do what it takes to make it up to you guys and to the customers, even if it takes the rest of my life, sir. But I'm worried that even then I won't be able to. I also want to acknowledge that those of you guys who gave me what I now believe the right to be a vice pathway forward for FTX following the crash, you do not have the rights because you are no longer the active CEO and you have nothing to do with FTX anymore. So let's start there. You were right, of course, that I believe a month earlier that FTX had been a thriving, profitable, innovative business, which means FTX still had value. The value could have gone towards helping making everyone more whole. We likely could have raised significant funding, boy, bye, and potential interest. $1 billion of funding came in right before 8 minutes. I signed. God Christ. Okay. Oh, after he signed it. Well, sucks to suck. Oh, and that's not a provable statement. So if you would have shown like a document that says here are the offers and the timestamp, I believe you. But I cannot believe a word this man says. He is full of fable. Between those funds, the $1 billion of collateral the company still held, and the interest we received from other parties, I think we probably could have returned a large. We probably could have. Emphasis on the probably could have return a large value to customers and save the business. Oh, Captain Save-A-Ho. Listen, sir, the only thing you need to save is a cellmate bunk, okay? Because this is ridiculous. There would have had to be changes, of course, way more transparency, way more controls in place, including oversight of myself. Anytime you have to make a statement that says there should have been oversight into myself, okay? Guards, call the guards. He's nuts. But FTX is really something special. Yes, a black box, which you plagued with taking money out of customer deposits and raising funds to allocate the money to yourself whenever you see possible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was something very special. Nothing that happened was your fault. Yes, we know you stole everything. We know no one's fault. We had to make very hard calls very quickly. I have been in that position before and should have been known when shitty things happen to us. We all tend to make irrational decisions. An extreme amount of coordinated pressure came out of desperation to file for bankruptcy for all of FTX, even entities that were solvent, despite other jurisdiction claims. I understand the pressure and empathize with it all. A lot of people have been thrust into challenging circumstances that generally were not their fault. I reluctantly gave into that pressure, even though I should have known better. I wish I had listened to those of you who saw and see the value in the platform, which was and is to my belief as well. Maybe there's still a chance to save the company you no longer work for, sir, because you are no longer the active CEO because you're in bankruptcy due to your action. I believe that there are billions of dollars in genuine interest. No, they're not, from new investors that could go to making customers whole. But I can't promise you that anything will happen because it's not my choice. In the meantime, I'm excited to see positive steps being taken, like Ledger X being turned back on. I'm incredibly thankful for all you guys have done in FTX over the years, and I'll never forget that. Never. Yeah, this guy's nuts. Yeah, so psych evaluation, start there. Uh, Issue number two is that there's no form of accountability. I mean, there's loosely related accountability. We're saying I should have oversight on myself and, things need to be done differently, but none of it's like, I did this, I took this out, I did not, so I don't know if he's trying to go for like a type of, he's trying to build a defense. Maybe that's why, but I don't even think it's wise for him to be sending out these documents. They are, to me, I'm not a lawyer. I know this is not financial advice. I'm not a lawyer. This is just reading and interpreting his letter. However, all of this is deeply admitting guilt. It's admitting knowledge, even though he's trying to say he wasn't aware, but it is displaying the fact that he was aware the entire time. So I know it seems if he's trying to make it seem as if it was an accident, and this is, but there are statements being made repeatedly that reflect that he was aware, he was conscious, he does have bad judgment, he has no self-control, and this is a reflection of his actions. But to write this letter and then blame it all on margin and rumors and FUD, opposed to, hey, I literally messed up. I allocated too much funding to myself without having enough means for the platform to operate. I did not have a board. I did not have an accountant. I did not keep proper track. I was a bad CEO and I need to stay away from crypto. This man is still blaming it on, CZ and Binance and calling it FUD. And to me, that's really scary. It's like, it's one thing to be like, I messed up. It's another thing to be like, I messed up. It's not that bad. I could fix it. That means there's something psychologically off. Like, because it's like, okay, it happened. Let the people that you place in charge sort it out. But you're inherently making everything 1,000 times worse. And if it wasn't a fraud case before, it will be because of the way he's tweeting, the way he's being erratic, all of the statements that have come out, the disappearance of board members, the missing wallets, the lack of communication from staff members that weren't even documented to be working at FTX. The situation looks really bad. That letter does not make it any better. It also makes me even more uncomfortable with him as a leader, and the fact that he's still allowed to give interviews when the developer of Tornado Cash is sitting in a prison cell right now is insane to me. So I know everyone's kind of like, why are you covering this topic so much? Because I think I'm covering it so much because everyone is covering it in reverse and making it like a spin piece, and he's an altruistic billionaire founder that like took a misstep. That's not what happened. That's not the case. And I just want to have clear, unbiased communication that documents like all of these things, because if you looked at Wall Street Journal and Forbes and all these other media sources, they're literally saying that like he just had a bad day and sucks for him, right? But it's bigger than that. People have lost a lot of money, and I think we just need to create some mindfulness and awareness, because this person literally was going to speak at the New York Times like on the 20, like next week or something, which is insane that someone who's caused this much damage can still actually have a voice in this space. When people do things like this, they're not banned, right? But I don't think we should be hearing their thoughts, because they're I don't want to touch. It's like giving Do Kwon a platform. Why does he have a platform? He's lost everyone millions to billions of dollars. I don't think that's someone we can safely trust as a financial leader moving forward. And I think if they can't step down and respect their failures, I think we as a people can stop listening to them, quite frankly. Okay. So thank you guys. And I'm going to put the link to the tweet so you guys can read it and form your own opinions about it. But I just really find the situation, as it's still ongoing, to be wild. Yeah, please share your thoughts on the letter, like, comment, and subscribe. And hope to see you guys soon. Okay, bye.